Today we're reading Leviticus chapters 16 through 18. We start out in Leviticus chapter 16 with the really big day in Israel each year, the Day of Atonement, also known as the Hebrew Yom Kippur. As a matter of fact, this was the day when the high priest went into the Holy of Holies one time each year and made that big sacrifice on behalf of the whole nation of Israel. Now, Yom Kippur is still observed today, but since they don't have a temple and they don't have the Ark of the Covenant, then it's quite a bit different today. As a matter of fact, today, observant Jews, they only do that portion of the Yom Kippur that they can do, and that turns out to be just the fasting. As I mentioned, the high priest went into the Holy of Holies each year, and it's often been said that the high priest had bells on his robe, and that's true, he did. But what is not so obvious until you look at today's passage is that the high priest changed into just a linen garment that had no bells when he went into the Holy of Holies. Therefore, there was no ringing of the bells on his garment while he was making those sacrifices, those offerings in the Holy of Holies. Read it and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. In Leviticus chapter 17, we answer this question: why didn't the Hebrews eat their cattle? Well, you'll see that unless they offered their cattle first to the priest as a peace offering, they weren't allowed to partake of their cattle. Now, this regulation changed when they went into Canaan. And then in Leviticus chapter 18, we have a list of abhorrent sins, things that God just cannot tolerate. Most of them are sexual in nature, but there's also one on the sanctity of life. They offered their children to Moloch. And there are a lot of parallels to today's society when we don't take life seriously, when we don't sanctify it before God. And so there's a lesson for all of us in Leviticus chapter 18. It says, as a matter of fact, that God drove the Canaanites out of the land because of their abhorrent conduct against natural law. They weren't Jews. They weren't standing as they knew it against the Mosaic law, but they were just abhorrent in the sight of God because of their disregard for the natural laws of nature. That sounds a little bit familiar, doesn't it? And that's what's in today's reading. We'll see you tomorrow.